probably already know. Over here in this chart, as we can see, that we have a relationship between the challenge and the skills. And what we want to do is we want to be able to have the challenge and the skills balance out in such a way so that way we can arc a curve of learning through P1 and P4. When we have too much challenge in the problem, it can become overwhelming, lead to anxiety, or if we have too little challenge in the problem and they have a high skill set, it could lead to boredom, which can also be frustrating as well. So the proper balance between the two gives us the best chance to facilitate learning. First off, what is flow? Well, flow is a positive mental state that is referred to as in the zone. In the zone refers to a mental state that happens when people are performing at their cognitive best, i.e. within what we've seen is inside video games, we've seen inside of sports, and we also seen this inside of high stakes games like poker. What this state is it increases the mental capacity and cognitive ability of the brain and ability to learn as well as recall from this experience. Now, one of the things I do want to talk about is with the flow, it's the next step into learning. And what I've been able to find with my research was a correlation between flow, learning environment, and getting around choke points in the brain. So in both flow and learning, we look at clear goals, a balance of skills and challenges, and that way not to upset the amygdala, a happy, focused, emotional state. Once again, the amygdala, very happy now. Immediate feedback, which allows this situation that we're building, the learning environment and the flow state, to be able to be corrected, to improve skills, also to improve challenge if need be. And that keeps us from getting blocked off by the amygdala. Intuition and motivation, autonomous. Once the 4 criteria that have passed have been met, the intuitive motivation appears with the ownership, as well as the perceived perspective of control over the situation, and invites the autonomous initiative. So a lot of these skills we see are interlaced and locked in with each other, and involves in a deep emotional state of happiness and well-being. Now, for the flow state, there's a few other characteristics that must be induced at this point in time or experienced in the whole process. 1, merging of actions and awareness. It almost comes like a precognition type ability. In gamers as well as in sports, and we're seeing this to some degree within the higher level stakes. They're playing cards, and also in other other research that have been working on developing flow within a learning environment through the use of media. a loss of self-consciousness, and an altered sense of time are all significant markers of showing that a person has entered into the flow state. So I perceive that just by setting the environment, which is a condition we create, therefore the conditions that we set up in a learning environment set up 6 of the needed 9 conditions to induce a flow state, or to experience a flow state. Now let me draw your attention to the right. Okay. I have another little chart that, which is familiar to the one we first seen. This one was taken directly to show how the actual relationship between an emotional state affects both flow and learning. As you can see, when we start out here, we have low, which can be towards apathy and sadness and depression. Not enough, stimulus in order to get the brain going. As our ability increases, but the challenge is not, we get depressed and content, really towards boredom. Continuing along with that ability and no challenge increased, relaxation, confidence, and content. You can do it easily. It becomes an easy motive. Now, if the challenges on the other side, if the challenges increase but the skill does not, it can be very worrisome, increasing sadness, increasing stress level. You continue going down that route, it can lead to anxiety, stress, alert, and possibly even breakdowns. I'm pretty sure we all seen that before. Now, however, if we keep both the challenge and the skills ability in our learning environment leveled, we can reach to a very aroused for control, depending on where we're going. So we can gauge this now. We can see the control, the happiness, the confidence building. We can also see the alertness and focus starting to key in our learners. And once we get them to a focused, happy state, to flow, it's almost automatic. It's like an ability that we were all born with. Now here is a study that I suggest that you all go ahead and look over for your own personal gain here. It's beautifully set out. It has wonderful clear objectives within it. If you look at the chart over here to your left, you can notice that there's different types of H3A, H3B. All those tie in directly to their hypothesis and how they went to actually prove or disprove their hypothesis within this given environment that they made with the multimedia devices that helped induce flow state within the learners. Now these characteristics are very important: the quality, content, functionality, ease of use, probability, and trusting of the manufacturer's rate. It's very important in order to lead to the passive usefulness, also flow within the understanding where they can actually take control. Once they actually take control of that with all these capabilities here, we have the perceived enjoyment as they're able to switch their focus, attention, and also perceived control over the whole situation, allowing them to facilitate their own learning, to take ownership in their own learning, leading towards a passive playfulness which we all gain whenever we understand what we're doing and it's meet at a level that we can attain short and understandable goals in order to apply that knowledge as a transference to later activities and skills that would be beyond the scope of what they teach us. In conclusion, the flow is definitely an attainable mind state that we can induce with the proper learning environment, augmented with the proper curriculum that will induce a flow state, giving them the autonomy they need to gain the motivation that they want to become the lifelong learner that we all seek to teach them to be.